Hey, Overland Lite. This is Ben Ransom. How are you today? Just bringing you another video like I promised. This is Cooper and his little brother Baloo, and then that's CC right here. I told you we had three crazy Pomeranians, so here they are. This is the video where I wanted to talk really briefly, and this is my cat. His name's Tinky. It stands for Tiny and Stinky. He's a Manx. So there you go. You've been introduced to the animals. Now we can move on from there. This video I wanted to do around the tire wheel choice and the suspension setup. So I did a ton of research. I'm not going to go into all that. I weighed out, the really cheap lifts versus something in between, and then something extravagant. You know the theme. Oh Lord, here we go. Okay, I'm back. Let's see if we can't get this done this time. All right, we're here to talk today about the suspension lift that I went with, and then the tire and wheel combo package that I decided to go with and why. As you know, the theme of the channel is Overland Lite, so we're going to keep it to the lightest and most inexpensive options possible, but at the same time, we're not overland cheap. So we're still quality minded. All right, you just can't cheap out on some things, and I'm going to go over a few things where I learned a hard lesson. All right, but not today. Today we went with two reputable companies, well, three really if you count the tires, and I'm just going to jump right into it and tell you what I've done and why. First of all, these are the original OEMs. They do have the Falcon all-terrains on them. They've been great. They did a good job. Mostly kind of a street tire, and you can get off on a gravel road with them. They're nothing extreme. And then, as you can see from the green paint on the spring here, I did go with the Ironman lift kit, and I'll tell you why. Number one, the quality of the product against the price that you pay, to me, it was a no-brainer. With this kit, you get everything you need, and you get the spacers for the subframe, so you can bring the rear end when you do the 2-inch lift in with the subframe bushings, and really have a nice clean profile across all four corners. And then the other thing too is in the front, they come preloaded. The springs are geared towards the Subaru. Depends on if you want to go with kind of a medium load or a heavy load, and you can give them your specs and what you're going to do with the car, and then they can sell you the package accordingly. I went with the medium because I'm not doing obviously anything. I'm not towing anything heavy, and I'm not going to be loading the car down with like a rooftop tent or anything like that. But they do spec these out with a higher rating. Pricing on these, I'm not going to tell you exactly what I paid for them. That wouldn't be fair to them, but I will tell you that I went to the Moore Expo in Springfield, Missouri, I believe that was in March, and I was given this card after I talked to these guys at their booth for a little bit. It was 30% off, and I just was very impressed with their knowledge base, and the guys were really friendly, and they're very professional, and they answered all my questions at the expo. And then I said, hey, I'm not really ready to buy today because I want to shop this around, but would you honor this 30% off if I decide to do this a few months down the road? Well, it was clear into the beginning of July, and they were offering 15% off, I believe it was, or for the 4th of July. And I called them up and I just asked them, hey, I was at the expo, got a offer for 30% off, and I was wondering if you'd honor it. And all he did was ask me to please send him a copy of this card right here. You can see it right here. It's got a QR code. Maybe it might work for you. I don't know. But I sent him a screenshot of this, and he said, yeah, I'm gonna hook you up. And so they did. The package arrived, and it was actually a pretty easy install. But I did run into one hiccup, and this is a tip for any of you that are doing this on a Subaru, probably an Outback. At least this is an Outback, so I only know about Outback. But the one area, if you have, this is a 2018, so let's say you have a 5-year or older car that you're putting this on, chances are real good and I've got my sample here, that when you go to pull this thing apart and take this front suspension out, this sway bar link is probably going to be frozen up. Now, I was able to loosen, get this turned here. I was able to loosen this bolt up about halfway, and it froze up on me. And I put my Allen key in here, and I did everything imaginable, heating it up, liquid wrench, you name it, back and forth on this thing. There was no getting this thing off of here. It is locked down, never coming off. You could spend however many hours you want trying to get this off, and Lord knows I did, until I finally just said, you know what, I'm calling the Subaru dealer and I'm going to see if I can source these links, which they had them in stock, oddly enough, a lot of them, and they are, let's say, 60 bucks a piece. I think they're 58 and some change. Okay, 120 bucks. Best damn money you're ever going to spend. Number one, you get, new part, new bushings and all that on, if your stuff's worn out. Two, you're not going to fight this thing until your knuckles are bleeding and you're going nuts. And three, the Subaru dealer told me that they sell a ton of these, because when people go to change their suspensions out or upgrade them or lift them or do anything sway bar related, these things are almost near impossible to get off, and they do sell a ton of them. So there you have it. That's my tip. If I was you, before you even dig into this project, try maybe to get this off. If you're lucky and it comes off, good for you. If you're not, order it from Subaru, get it and get it done. They probably have them in stock. So that's my takeaway. Other than that, this install was very straightforward, easy to do, took a couple of hours. And then I ran into the last hiccup. So I got the car done, put it down like they said, and adjusted. There's a video that Ironman has that's fantastic. The guy Wags does it. It's a very informative video, step by step of what to do. Now he's doing it on a Crosstech, I believe, but I could not get the camber to come in on this thing. The eccentric bolt, I had it fully adjusted all the way up to get the negative camber, and it just wouldn't come in. And when I'm telling you the camber was out, it was over +2 degrees, and that's after alignment. It just wouldn't come in. I was afraid I was going to have to go get a lower cam bolt so that I could adjust the lower part of the strut as well. But what I did was I loosened the nuts or the bolts back up that mount it, and then I set the eccentric bolt all the way to the most negative camber I could get, and then I just, by happenstance, when I jacked it up, I grabbed the wheel and I just torqued on it and just pushed it in at the top and pulled it out at the bottom, and it moved at least 2 to 3 degrees. And so what I'm thinking is, with this new suspension, it's so stiff, it's so tight, even when it's being and by the way, I also did go online and look at a lot of comments where people were saying they just could not get these things to come in, and the camber just wouldn't align for them. And they were, people were just not understanding what they could possibly do to change this. And that worked for me. I was just able to grab the wheel and just, again, push it in at the top, pull it out on the bottom, and I got a lot of movement out of it. Tightened the bolts back down while my son held it in place. And then took it down back to the alignment shop, and we were dead at zero. Perfect alignment all the way around. So that's another tip. If you're having trouble getting your camber to come in, maybe you need to grab the wheel at the same time as you've had the cam bolt adjusted correctly all the way to the negative side, and then you can grab that wheel and push in on it and see if that doesn't work for you. So that's it on that. I'm going to walk you around real quick and let you just take a look at the tire wheel combo. One thing that flies in the face of the Overland Lite theme here is that these wheels and tires that I'm installing on this vehicle right now to get another 1.5 inches of lift have added 18 pounds per wheel of unsprung weight. That is a lot of weight. So if you're not prepared to deal with 18 pounds per corner and you don't want to mess with that, then this is not going to be the setup for you. But what I went with was the KO2 BF Goodrich. Again, I didn't feel like messing around with other wheels or with other tires, other manufacturers. I already know what these tires are capable of. So this is the one I went with. It's the Method 502 series wheel, and this is the KO2 BF Goodrich. And one thing, guys are always doing videos and they're talking about these great wheels that are tires that they put on, and no one ever says what size they are. All right, these do not rub lock to lock. They are a perfect fit for this vehicle. Lots of tread. You know, I just don't know that you can get anything better than this for the money. That's my personal preference. And the size on these, I already know it, but I'm going to read it off for you. It's a 245/65 R17. Okay, there it is. 245/65 R17. And that's that. And here's the, here's my original. Here's the new one next to it. It is at least 1.5 inches. I measured it in the garage. It was actually about 1.75 inches taller than the stock wheel and tire setup. Okay, and it fits perfectly because I'm going to walk you around now, and I'm going to show you the other side because it's already all installed. And here we go. So we'll move this, and we'll just come on over here. And this is what it looks like on the car. And you can see this thing has a great amount of clearance now. I don't have the center caps on yet, but you get the idea. That's a lot of wheel and tire in there. And you can see really good clearance on this. I'm really impressed with this package. All right, well, that's going to do it for today. And Tinky and I say have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.